Speaking of gambling, brother, listen, I gamble sometimes between like 10, 20K a day. I do parlays. You know, people look at me like I'm like one of the biggest gamblers they know. Brother, I'm doing peanuts compared to what the fuck you're doing. You show me parlays that you put like 100,000, 200, 300 down and hit like for 4 or 5 million. I've actually seen those with my own eyes. Yep. How, brother? If I lose 10, 20,000, I'll go to sleep like a baby. That shit's not gonna. But if I lose like half a mil, oh boy, I'm not gonna sleep too well. How the fuck do you put that much money down and still sleep at night? I mean, listen, and you're talking to somebody who does this too.
Dude, if I lose, I sleep even better at night.
Explain that.
Because I know I'm going on the warpath tomorrow to recover.
How long you been gambling, brother?
Forever. Since I was like 17.
17?
Yeah. It's been my profession for almost 20 years. It's all
Tell us now about your biggest win and your biggest loss.
Biggest win, I won 11 million in 24 hours.
11 million doing what?
Went on an absolute despicable, heroic, statistical impossibility tear. Yeah, just parlaying.
2, 3, 4-teamers?
Absolute, the aggression meter was through the roof. The book was, I was literally terrified. My host actually called me and he said, the back office called us. They said they have never seen aggression from a player like this in the history of the book. They said, when you bet with us, it's not even like you're trying to take our money. It's like you're betting against the world. They were like, who the fuck are you? Like, what kind of animosity drives you to bet these numbers with us?
My best run was I mean, obviously nothing compared to your numbers. I made about 1.2 million in about 3 weeks in Atlantic City. They kicked me out of resorts.
Oh, yeah.
They literally kicked me out. Like, you know, if you go spend money in a hotel, you know, and spend the type of money I'm spending, they usually give you a room and, you know, I'm there for a while. I just call up, yo, give me an extension. One day I call up, they're like, oh, yeah, you got to go. I'm like, what do you mean I got to go? They're like, you got to go.
How is that legal?
Yeah, they like
they don't like winners.
They unperson you like Stalin. You just get unpersoned, erased from photographs. It's unreal.
I beat them so bad because they used to let you move the over-under lines. Could you imagine lines at 8.5 and you could move it down to 6.5? Mm-hmm. And I just murdered them. They changed their whole system because of me.
Of course. But here's the thing with my style. My style is so dangerous because I can go the opposite way just as quickly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I can make 11 mil, but I could torch that 11 mil same day, and I will be unfazed because I'm trained now. I've been doing this for such a long time. I'm very, very, very cold-blooded towards it.
How many times have you lost $1 million in a day?
Probably more than there are fucking bacteria in this room.
Okay. So you do understand that most people will never see $1 million.
Most people will never see the kind of money that I won in a 24-hour period. So that's my point, is like the way that I'm living, and I'm like shedding lives. I'm literally shedding. I'm living, the last year, I feel like I've lived 100 years. I'm writing a book about it right now. I'm literally chronicling the experience that I had the last year, the wisdom that I have learned from the hardcore risks I have taken. Dude, we're not even just talking money. Like, it gets to the point when you're putting up $5 million bets, that's a blood, stake, bone investment.
What do you do when you put $5 million bets? Are you looking at your phone? Are you looking at the TV? Smoking squares 24/7? What are you doing? Because that's got to be a lot of stress, brother.
Gatling gunning cigarettes in each hand. Sometimes I have 2 lit in each hand. I'm Gatling gunning them. And for sure, yeah, I'm pacing, but I like sports betting because I can live a normal life. I don't have to sit in a dungeon and a fucking poker table for 10 hours a day. That's
you don't like to grind that shit.
No, fuck no. Place a sports bet, go take a nap, go walk with my girl, try to have a nice day. But yes, of course it's stressful.
When you have a bad day, like for instance, if I lost like 20, 30K, my wife can't tell. I'll be stone cold. You won't be able to tell anything.
Oh, my girl can tell.
So if you lose like $1 million, you show it, right?
Door hinges are being ripped off.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But then they're being replaced.
With better ones.
With better ones.
I got you. Gambling's
I
haram.
don't gamble. No, I don't gamble.
Gambling's haram.
It's haram.
Okay. Is gambling haram or is losing haram? Because I got to tell you, as a gambler, I've had ups and downs. I've had months where I lost 100K. I've months that I won 400K. I've had that. I'm a winner. That man right there is a winner. We've made money gambling. Why is that haram? Explain that.
Because it's in the Quran.
Well, I understand that, but is there a little bit deeper than just it's in the Quran?
I'm not trying to understand and
You just follow God's law and that's it.
He's got the wisdom. He knows. He's the one.
But don't you believe as a logical man that if you're actually good at something and you make money at it, how can it be bad if it's not hurting anybody?
I don't have an answer for that.
I just think losing's haram.
Losing's wrong. But we're all speculators to some degree, right?
Of course. Like for instance, when they talk about religion and they talk about speculation is bad and astrology and numerology are bad. I mean, BlackRock and Vanguard, these are financial institutions that have like $8 trillion. They have a software program called Aladdin, and this thing speculates. That's what it does, and they make money on this speculation. And a lot of Saudi royal families, Muslims, are in there. So why is it gambling is haram when it comes to sports, but not the stock market? I always found that very interesting that they would say, oh, if you put money on the Knicks, oh, that's bad. But if you gamble on the stock market or gamble in the housing market, oh, that's kosher.
Which is arguably more rigged, by the way.
100% by the Federal Reserve.
Well, the fact that you can make 15 million and then lose 15 million, it cancels out everything. So, what's the point?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're up a couple shekels more than you lost, just not for you, huh, brother?
No, I don't gamble,
Pearl, you ever gamble?
Kate, not really. I think I've done it 3 times in my life, maybe 4.
Guys, listen, you can be one of those people who are very close with your woman. You can be one of those people who talk to your woman about everything. Don't tell your woman about gambling stuff. They don't want to hear that shit, man. You talk about masculizing a woman, giving her stress. Yeah, that's gonna have a woman start gambling fucking parlays. You're gonna see how masculine she gets real quick.
The way I look at it is that I don't have to gamble to be with you.
There you go, brother.
I didn't have to lose 15 million to be with you.
There you go, brother. By the way, I'm his agent now.
Yeah. But you got to be smart to make money.
I would say
I don't think if you're a woman and you got a big rack and you got a nice ass, all you got to do is put that shit on OnlyFans. You're gonna make money. There's nothing about smart. The smart guys are the ones who invented the computer, invented the internet. Those were all men, and the women are taking advantage of that.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. In corporate America, you see these women walking around like they own the place. They're not really that smart when you talk to them. They're kind of dummies. You know what I mean? Especially you were just in the DC area. There's a lot of stupid women making a lot of money out there. But it's just because these corporations so there's some truth to what he's saying. These corporations do reward women for basically doing nothing because they have diversity hires. So it does skew it a little bit, but it just kind of depends on the industry. But yeah, there are some. I met this one chick and she told me to go into tech. This was a couple of years ago, and I couldn't figure out how this girl this stupid was making so much money. She was she made $110,000, and this was 5 years ago, so it was less inflated. And I was like, how the hell is this bitch making so much money? It didn't click until 5 years later when they fired everyone at Twitter. What happened when the rubber met the road at Twitter, right? And they needed to make money because they were losing money. They fired all the women, all these, white ladies in HR telling all the men, no.
I've never had a woman boss.
No, they're not great. Yeah.
I don't think I ever will, in all honesty.
Yeah, and even the way I've structured my company,
Well, I do have a wife. Let me rephrase that. I do have a wife, so I do have a little bit of a boss. So let me rephrase that a little bit.
Even the like everything I've been starting, like my men are in management in general. I'm not saying there could never be a woman that's the exception, but I knew like as a woman I can't handle stress the same way men handle stress.
Nor do I think you should.
No, I don't want to. And so it's like nice if shit hits the fan to just be like, all right, tell me what I'm supposed to do.
I think naturally that, you got smart women and smart men. Intelligence, I think, is not ascribed to your gender, but your gender.
Well, women are much less intelligent than men as a whole. Their brains are 15% smaller. They're much more emotionally based. Men are much more logically based. Now, are you going to tell me there's not a woman out there who's very logical? Of course there are. I've met them. But it's very rare. Okay. It's like finding a virgin in 4 hours.
It all depends on the roles that we're given, because physically a man is stronger than a woman, and so the woman has got to be submissive. She should be submissive.